Welcome back, VA users. In today's session, we are going to see how to process the cash journals into the system. Now, cash is one of the basic utility that used to process your day-to-day activities. Let's suppose there is a sales department that used to be onto the field. Now, the sales department on daily basis requires some petrol expenses, requires some other kind of expenses. Even there are certain stationary expenses would be there to run the organization. There might be some other expenses like tea, coffee expenses would be there, and also these kind of all the expenses would be there within an organization on daily basis. So there are certain cash entries would be there into the system that will reduce your cash, or might be a possibility that you will receive the cash from the employee if you have given the advances to the employee for their traveling. So there are various cases and there are various kind of cash entries used to come on daily basis within an organization. Now, to how to process such a cash entries into the VA system, we will see how we can process such a cash entries into the VA system. Okay. So let's move on to the VA system and we'll see how we can process such cash entries. Now, we just need to log in into the VA system first. I'm at my login screen and I'm logged in with IDS Inc. admin. So here again, I used to kept on saying like, whenever the Vienna Advantage is implemented in your organization or at the customer place, at that moment of time, there are certain specific roles, the specific users. So not everything will not be visible to all the users. Instead, only that area would be available in which the person is dealing, right? If I'm in finance executive, probably I do not have the sales order, the purchase order, the shipments, all these windows I won't able to access it because there is no role of mine to get engaged with such a kind of transactions. And even I do not have much knowledge regarding this if I'm a finance executive, right? So let's move on and we'll create some cash entries to understand. To understand the cash entries, we need to log in first. So I'm logged in here and now search your cash journal. So here the cash journal is there. Now the important thing again for the cash journal, there should be a certain cash book. Now regarding the cash book, we have already prepared a video that is basically the cash book management. You would be able to refer that video to create the cash books, right? So let's say new record, I want to generate a cash journal. Now I would say a cash journal. My cash book is HQUST. Now thereafter I would save this. As a result of my selection of the HQ, I would get the beginning balance. So at the moment my beginning balance is not correct and system will not allow me to save or process a record if my ending balance is in negative figures, since the cash never be on negative side, right? So I would say HQ branch B1. So presently in my system it is most of the time it's negative since I was used to do certain things anyhow, but in your link it would not be. Enter the name of the cash channel. Let's say I just want to process telephone expenses. Now here the important thing is there might be a possibility you can open a single cash channel for the entire day. You will kept on doing your entries at the cash lines for the entire day and process a single cash channel. Or you can, whenever there is entry would come, I will enter and I will process it out. Both the ways are possible, right? So let's move on to the new record, and at this particular cash line I just need to select there are certain options for cash type, right? So the cash type can be, from one cash book to another cash book. If you want to transfer the cash, you would be able to do so. It is against the business partner. So whether it is going to be advance, you are receiving it from the vendors, you would be able to select that. And so you would be able to see that is the receipts or it is the payment receipt return or something. So Next is the charges. You would be able to use the charges. Now there is a difference. That's the interesting one basically. Now what happens, being the finance head, I or the finance executive, it is my primary responsibility to count the cash every morning. And while closing the day, it is my responsibility that I will verify what cash would be. Now, for let's suppose for the next day, I figure out there is a difference of some dollars. Then what I will do in such a case, I would be able to enter my differences, and these differences can be either onto the a positive end or onto a negative end. So both the ends would be there. That is the payment. If it is a payment, it means there is negative values, and it means there is reduction into the cash. If it is a receipt, then it is going to be increase into the value, and the cash is going to be increased. Because this difference is important, because later on, as a responsible finance executive, it is my responsibility to make sure that there is no mismanagement into the cash. Okay. Now the next one is general expenses. So these general expenses would be utilized like when I don't want to select every time a charge. Okay, and it is all journal expenses on daily basis kept on happening. One of the best example is, let's suppose the tea is a general expense, and on daily basis 2 times in a day it used to come, tea or coffee. So instead of selecting every time a charge as a cash type and selecting it, and then selecting my charge as tea expenses, instead I will say, okay, for the tea expenses it is general expense, since the ledger code is linked with my cash book, and I would be able to here enter all these details. Okay, so that is the general expense cash type. And similar to general expenses, there is a general receipt, but on daily basis there would something I would receive. Okay, let's suppose the rent, I will get the rent in cash. My other office is on rent, and then I used to receive the receipt for the rent, so I would be able to fix that rent code with my cash book, and I will utilize general receipt. That all depends. However, instead of these two, you would be able to choose charge, and you can select a relevant charge and push that value in that particular ledger code. Okay. Then if you are receiving something or paying against an invoice, or receiving something against an invoice, you would be able to select the invoice, and then you need to select the invoices. Thereafter, if it is the order, then you would be do it against the order. Then your last one is the bank transfer. So there is a limit for the cash to kept with the finance executive or with the finance manager. If the cash is over to that, then the person is able to transfer that cash to the bank, or if the cash is not available with the finance executive, they can withdraw the cash from the bank. So both the ways this bank account transfer used to work. Okay. Now let's do certain entries. I would say, okay, for the charges, my expenses basically, I would say electricity expenses I'm doing, and it is a payment, and it is $100. So I would be able to do so, and I will save. You can see the sign is changed to -100 since my payment is 100. Onto the other side, let's say I want to generate one charge entry, and I will say charge. It is going to be, let's say, general expenses. Okay, not charge, we have already used charge. General expenses, and my expenses of, let's say, $5. So I would select this. There are general receipts, that is of, let's suppose, $10. Then I would, you can see, here the payment type is, sometimes it is the person who needs to select. Okay, sometimes it would be auto populated by the system, because the nature of the cash type, the general receipts is always positive, it is never be negatives. Okay, while the general expense is always in negative, never positive, right? So this is the way how you would be able to process the cash channel. And once you would come to the cash channel header, you would be able to see that there is a statement difference of 95, and 905 is your ending balance at the level of the cash book. So once I will process, then you would be able to see. So let me move on to the cash book. Presently you would be able to see here, and here is my cash lines. Okay, So you would be able to see and trace it up everything at this level. So once it is done, after I would come and I will complete this. Okay, so as a result to this, so my cash book will be accordingly updated. So these are the figures actually not properly updating presently. The reason is because I did a lot many things, the test entries, so there might be that might be the reason. That's why it is not updating accordingly. Anyways, you will create your cash book, new cash book, and thereafter you will try it out. It will work, I'm completely sure on that. Okay, so that's how you would be able to process the cash channel. Now at the end, if you want to take the printout, you would be able to take the printout for header. So I would be able to pull the cash channel and all the lines would be available here, right? Now if I want to generate each cash line as a cash voucher, then I would be able to pull the data into the reports. So I would be able to generate each line as an individual cash voucher. So that is how you would be able to process the cash entries into the VA system. If you like our video, then I would request you to share this video with your friends so that they will come to know about how to process the cash entries, and subscribe our channel for such a wonderful videos. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.